Hi, welcome to the Gen X Glam and Gab channel here on YouTube. It is great to see everyone, whether you're new, whether you're coming back. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. This is my channel. I do a little bit of glam, do a little bit of gab, and we're going to get into it. For those of you who are tracking my channel, you know that I have just made an international move from North America to Europe. I'm in Sweden, and I've been here a week here in Sweden, and I thought I would do like a week recap. So this is going to be mostly gap, but I don't know. Let's see if folks are interested in sort of hearing that tale of, transition to a new culture, to a new country, to a new language, which I do not speak, by the way, in case nobody's asked me that yet. As I think about this, nobody's asked me that, but I will volunteer. I do not speak the language. So today I'm going to play pickleball. So this is a familiar topic for us, right? For those of you who are tracking my channel, you know I play pickleball. Luckily, the hubby has already established himself with a couple pickleball clubs, and I'm going to ride those coattails. I am going to ride those coattails, rather. And so I'm going to go play pickleball for the first time. So not going to be a lot of makeup, although sadly, it was a wash and dry the hair day, and it could not be avoided. I mean, I had to do it. I was actually a day over. So I'm going to have to wash and dry my hair again before, tonight or tomorrow morning before I go to work, because I'm going to get all sweaty. But this is great because I think I mentioned earlier in the week that, I've been going through these sample hair sort of, I don't know, I got a hair oil, I got a hair mask, and a bunch of shampoo and conditioners, samples from 7 milliliters to 20 milliliters, all the kinds of brands that Sephora offers, many of Sephora's top brands that they offer in hair stuff. And I think it's really fascinating. I've been doing some deep dives into milliliters and prices, and figuring out prices per milliliter. Specifically with the Amika brand, I'll try to put a little blurb here, a little overlay of what I'm talking about. It's the Kure. So first of all, we're going off the rails on a crazy train for sure on this video. I'm going to be talking about a lot of different stuff. So I guess we're jumping into hair care first because that's what we're going to do. But on pickleball days, I just usually do a little bit of skincare. So I've already done a toner, and I did a serum after my shower a couple hours ago before I went out grocery shopping, which I'm going to talk about also in this video, and the kind of shopping I've been doing this weekend. So that has had plenty of time to set. I'm just going to go in with some of my Guerlain. This is like a sample, a 10 milliliter sample of La Creme face cream from the Orchid Imperial line, and we're gonna put a little bit on that. And I found, and I think those of you who are paying attention to my debate, like personal debate, do I wear makeup to pickleball or just sports in general, unless I'm testing the Tier, which, yeah, that was fun when I wore Tier to go play tennis. But no, generally speaking, I did test how much makeup am I comfortable wearing to pickleball or to tennis, knowing that I'm going to sweat, but yet don't want to look completely like washed out. And I found like a little bit of color correcting and an Alipi. You can't go wrong with doing Alipi, is all that, I really need. And that I really honestly that I care about, right? It's all about like what I care about when I leave the house. And do I want a little bit of color correcting and a little bit of something on my lips, generally speaking, whenever I leave the house, be it for a sport or whatever? And I think that I have determined, yes, in this midlife something. Hey, I'm dropping things just like at my old glam station. But like in this midlife makeup crisis, this collection, this journey that I've gone on, trying all this different kinds of stuff, that is a lesson learned. Like what is my threshold on leaving the house in terms of how much makeup I want to wear out? And I think now, after 2 years of experimenting in all kinds of different ways and chatting with you all and getting your feedback and putting that all into my analysis, a little bit of color correcting followed by some powder. Today I'm not going to powder because I don't really want that on my face when I'm sweating, but like a little bit of color correction and a lippy is the bare minimum I feel pretty good about leaving the house with, and having my imperfections a little bit diminished, right? Because it's all about diminishing the imperfections, at least from my perspective, because I'm never doing a full beat, a full glam beat. All right, so let's get back to let's get back to what I've learned. Why do I feel like that's pilling a little bit? So I used Charlotte Tilbury Glow Toner today, and I had a little sample size. You know, you got not gift with purchase, but you could, yeah, gift with purchase, I guess. Like a little 5 milliliter of her elixir serum. I had that in my bathroom, which I'm going to talk about. Also, I'm going to talk about in this video stuff that I left here when I visited over Christmas that I am just thanking my Christmas traveling self for leaving. I'm going to show you some of that too. And we're going to do a show and tell, still stuff that I bought over the summer that I didn't get a chance to do a video on that I want to share with you. And I would love to put in a future giveaway, but finding a way to mail stuff back to the US is becoming a bit more problematic than I thought it would be. But I think I know somebody for sure. Maybe that might be going back in October. I would like to get something out earlier than that, but if it's October, it's fitting because remember last October was Octoberpalooza, my birthday month, and I was doing giveaways every week. Like maybe I can do another Octoberpalooza action. No, that's not pilling, but I thought for a second it was pilling, and that is not good. All right, so getting back, and what else? Oh, I went to the mall yesterday for the first time. I went to one of the malls nearby. I took my son with me and we had a good time. Like I wanted to check out like a nail place, which I did. I wanted to go to H&M and just like look for anything that I might be able to freshen my wardrobe with. And I found a really nice dress for $50, short sleeve. So it's still like, you know, kind of in the winter, I'll have to maybe wear a blazer with it or a sweater. And I found a blouse. We went to one of my favorite stores that I used to go to all the time in Copenhagen because I had one near my house. It's called Flying Tiger Copenhagen, and I think they have these in like New York City and maybe in some of the other big cities. And I stocked up. I got some fidget toys for my kiddo. We got notebooks, and I got this, you know, this recycle bag, right? Like, you know, for groceries or whatever, because there's no paper bags or plastic. Like you have to buy your bags here as an incentive for shoppers to, I don't know, be environmentally conscious, not enemies of the planet, bring their own bags, right? Recycling is a huge deal here. I could do a whole video on recycling here on how that works, but it is a very huge deal. Maybe sometime I'll talk about that, but not in this video because I wasn't planning on talking about it in the video. Not that that matters because I usually just talk about whatever comes to mind and hope everyone can just follow along. But I love the Flying Tiger Copenhagen. I thought this would be the perfect pickleball bag. And as you can see, I do have my pickleball racket in here, and I have my safety glasses, which we've talked about before, because remember when I was playing pickleball in Canada and I was getting so annoyed that I was getting like breakouts, and it took me a little while to figure it out. It was my safety glasses and the sweat that kind of like, I don't know, that pools. Oh, that's so disgusting. But you know, sweat that's generated and the friction of these things, but it's very important to wear safety glasses if you're a pickleball player. And Cadence, I don't know if you're still playing. I haven't heard from you for a while. Slowly, folks, by the way, folks are coming back in. Like, it's been great to hear from Amy. It's been great to hear from Dawn. Jeanette B and I were chatting while I was in transit to the mall on Discord about me going to the mall. I had sent her the link. She actually looked at the link. She's like, look, there's a doctor, there's a dentist. Oh, I see 2 nail places. Jeanette B, thank you very much. You seem to pop up when most needed. Remember that night I had to take my kid to the hospital? You were online on Discord. For those of you who have not joined the Gen X Glam and Gab Discord server, I truly invite you to join. I've added a new channel. I've added Sweden, where I'm popping in and just making notes about my transition and what I'm learning. I put the price list for the nail place that I found on that channel. I'll say quickly, for some context, let's jump to nails. Like, I'm going to be getting gel shellacs here, not dips anymore. I used to do the dips in Canada, but I don't think they really do dip here. It's not the best for your nails, although it is so durable. So I'll go back to shellac, which is what I did in Copenhagen, which is like a gel that you put under, a gel nail polish that you put under like UV lights, and it burns, I don't know, lack of a better word, bakes, I guess, to your nail, top of your nail. Not the best, but if you do it and you give yourself breaks and stuff, I don't know, it just lasts longer than just if you put on your regular lacquer nail polish, right? And it dries instantly, so it's not like you're digging your keys out of your bag after you leave the nail salon and boom, already you've ruined it because you weren't completely dry. So shellac's big favorite thing, also known as gel. And so it's going to be about 20 bucks more expensive here. So to give some perspective, I was paying 35 or $40 in Canada, and that's Canadian dollars. For the place that I went to, it was not in a mall. It was like a standalone, so it didn't have a huge overhead, right? As opposed to you go get your nails done in a mall, you know you're paying for a little bit more overhead because of their rent is more expensive. And then where I was going while on vacation in the States, again, was not in a big mall. It was a standalone shop. It was $40 for a regular shellac and $45 for a French manicure. Here, the starting price for just a gel color is going to be about, I think it was $59. And it's almost 10 to 1, the Swedish crown to the US dollar, which is how I'm trying to remember. I think it's actually just under 10.9 something. But so if you think like something is priced at, let's take this sweater, which I bought today. It was priced at 129 Swedish crowns. So I'm calling it like 12 bucks. Somewhere around there, right? In tax. I bought this because I needed something to keep at my desk. This is actually like a men's sort of zip up, goes up to here, but I'm just going to keep it at my desk. It's not meant to be fashion conscious. It's meant to be, my pickleball goes on under. It's meant to be functional because I find that my office, which we're going to talk about office life a little bit later in the video, is a little bit chilly in the morning and then it warms up throughout the day because as sun comes through the windows. So I just want something I can keep at my desk, and I thought this was pretty neutral, and I didn't realize it was men's. Even though I tried it on, I'm like, wow, this is really loose for a medium. It's a men's medium, but that is what it is. Anyway, I'm going to put my pickleball glasses away. And for those of you, Cadence, again, like shout out to everybody who is checking in with me in the comments. I love to hear these. Well, I hear them in my head. Read these comments from folks that Barb W, you know, all y'all that are coming back, making your comments and kind of like letting me know like you're back, like, you know, what's going on with how it's been for you and the vacation, and I don't know, just making me feel really warm and welcome after taking somewhat of a bit of a break while I made the move and went on vacation. But so Cadence, I hope you're wearing your safety glasses, and for any of you that have similar to this, all we need to do is every once in a while take an alcohol swab to this area of your safety glasses and sterilize them, right? Because that's where the bacteria is growing. It's mixing with the sweat in your skin, and this is exactly where I was getting all the breakouts. So anyway, let's put this back. So I go to pickleball later. Super, super excited about that. And just this bag, like there were a lot of bags to choose from, and this, so that was 40 kroner. So crowns, sorry, kroners, Danish kroner, 40 crowns, 40 Swedish crowns. So it's like about $4. And I just think it's kind of lovely. Like it's still kind of summery, like that lilac color and like the plum, and I don't know. I think it's a great transition bag in terms of colors from summer to fall. I'm just gonna put that down there so it doesn't literally fall. So let's get back to the shampoo stuff. I did an unbox. I did a share of what I got in my Sephora medley of hair stuff. And I had said before, I thought I cashed in 250 of my Sephora rewards points to get this medley of hair stuff, but I think it might have actually been 500. So I don't know. If anybody wants to fact check me on that, please feel free. So what I've used so far was my Amika, which was 20 milliliters, and I used the Orbi, I don't ever know how to pronounce it, which I really like. The only thing I have in the Orbi, I think it's O-R-I-B-E or O-R-B-E, is the texture spray. That's all I have in that brand, but I have a good friend that uses Amika, and she also uses Orbi, and she loves it. So let's talk about Amika though, because I did the math. You know, I like to figure out how much stuff costs per milliliter. So I did the math. So Amika sample out of all of these, let's see. I love Day. Day is only giving me 10 milliliters. This brand here, Heart of Glass, this is giving me 12 milliliters. This brand, who I have no idea, I've never heard of it before. Vegamore, not sure. It's giving me 5 milliliters. Boy, all of that packaging and only 5 milliliters. Could that be correct? I need to double check. Let's see. No, it's giving me 15. This is a 15 milliliter. Nutrafol, this is going to be only, this is only 7. And so is the K18. It's only 7. This, I believe, is a hair mask. It's a Keratase hair mask, and it's coming in at 15 milliliters. And another hair mask from Absolute Repair Molecular, L'Oreal, is coming in at also 15 milliliters. So the Amika was the most generous sample at 20 milliliters, and I got 2 uses out of that. So this is good to know. Like, these sort of things are good to know for portion control, right? We're going to look at Amika. We're going to look at the KURE shampoo and conditioner, because that's the sample I got. I looked those up on Sephora, and you can buy them in 2 different sizes. You can get the 275 mil for 29 bucks, or you can get 500 mil for 45 bucks. I divided the number of milliliters into the cost, and it comes out, if you were to listen, you know, sometimes you think I buy the bigger one, I get the better value. It just wasn't the case in this. And so, like, if you have time to do the math and try to figure that out, let's do a little bit of, now that we did the face cream for La Creme, let's do the under eye cream for La Creme. You know, you can do your math to find out if sizing up is going to save you a significant amount of money. So I did the math with the Amika, and if I buy 275 milliliters for $29, it comes out to about 10 cents a milliliter. If I buy the 500 milliliters for $45, it comes out to 9 cents. So in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really save me that much. And I'm the type of person that does like to rotate. There are some like ride or die products for me that I don't deviate from, right? And I will buy them for the apocalypse, right? Like restock towards the apocalypse. But hair shampoo and conditioner does not fall in that category for me, okay? I'm not buying for the apocalypse, meaning what I'm trying to get at is I like to rotate through things, and I'm sure like you guys do too, because I know like a lot of you on here are like me. You're kind of collecting, you're trying stuff in a variety. You enjoy trying new things and accept the fact, like manage your expectations that they might be a win and they might not, and be, you know, we get really excited when we get that win and we find something we're like, yes, we're going to restock. And we'll get that kind of like, like, what a bummer. I spent my money on that. That was not a win for me, but just won't buy it again, or won't buy something like it again. So the Amika, in that case where it's like 10 cents or 9 cents, I'm gonna buy the 20. I'm gonna spend 29 bucks. I'm gonna get 275 milliliters because I liked it. It's a nice conditioning, sort of moisturizing. It's not specifically for color. You know, Amika has, you know, a couple of different kinds of shampoos and conditioners that do different things, whether it's, you know, more for like dry and damaged hair or color hair or whatever. So that in this case, again, it was the KURE, I don't know, is it spelled cure? I'm not exactly sure, is what they gave me in the sample. They gave me 20 milliliters. I found that I got 2 hair washes out of that. So let's call it 10 milliliters for each, you know, wash. So that's 50 cents a wash. I did the math. Now I have to look at my notes because this is something else I got at the Flying Tiger. So we was getting like a little bit of school supplies for the kiddo, and I needed a notebook. I have like one piece of scrap paper that I've used the past 2 weeks to make my shopping list. So I found the cheapest notebook, and it's so cute though. It's like, I love the mantra. All dreams are free. All dreams are free. They're free. So why don't we just, I don't know, dream more? And then at the bottom it says, and so are the dots. So it's like, it's the dotted paper. It's not lined. But, you know, I don't know if anybody has done bullet journals. They're kind of like a thing where they're definitely dots, like the pages are dots. A bullet journal has like little dots, and you kind of do your own date. You design each page. So you're not buying an agenda book that's already like predated. You're buying like a blank slate, like a canvas, if you will, and you're using your own pens and colored pencils and stickers and stuff to create your own agenda. I think I've done bullet journals in the past, and I find them very motivating because it motivates me more to use my agenda, like writing in it, when I can be like, oh, I'm going to put a sticker here because it's pickleball day, and I'm like really excited on pickleball days. Anyway, let's look into this. So if I'm using 10 milliliters of product, and it's 10 cents a milliliter, what is that? That's like what? Like $1 a wash, I guess. So, and you break it down, and you can break it down like that. So then you're using the shampoo and and you're using the conditioner. So yeah, if it's 10 cents a milliliter and I'm using 10 milliliters for a wash, I guess that would be like $1 a wash. And this kind of gave me an idea of exactly how many milliliters I am using when I squirt it out and what that looks like in my hand. Like 7 milliliters is going to be a little bit more than I need, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be enough to break into 2. I feel the same way about the Day, although because I love this so much, I love the Smell a Day products so much, I might try to break that into 2, but it's going to be a bit tougher because this is just a 10 milliliter sample. Now, Amika gave me double of that, right? So, but I think I could. I think that 10 milliliters I think that 20 milliliter Amika each of the shampoo and conditioner, I probably could have got 3 washes out of it, honestly, because it was very thick. So it just depends on that too, like the texture of the product. So I don't know. I just thought I would share. What else? So we went to the mall, right? And so we went on a Saturday, and I just want to talk quickly about the tradition here that happens on Saturday. And I don't know what the translation is. I actually don't know what we're going to use the tier for the color correcting today. I don't know, I can't remember what actually the Swedish language translation is for basically Saturday candy. And it's a tradition here that they have where they, in order so that their kids aren't bugging them like every day for candy, they let their kids have candy. They've made it a big deal to let kids, for lack of a better word, binge on candy on Saturdays, and it's like translates to Saturday candy. And so that was one of the reasons that we went to the mall, because we know about this tradition. We've been even though we haven't lived in Sweden, we have been honoring it in our household for quite some time. And it really actually does work. Before I started instituting this with my kids, it was like always bugging, like, hey, we want M&Ms or we want this. And then, you can be like, well, on Saturday, you're going to have your Saturday candy and you can eat all you want. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter the age of folks. And it's very interesting to see this phenomenon happen in the native land. So we go to the grocery store because the grocery stores have the wall of bulk candy, right? And people fill up their bags. So here's my bag. I didn't want to get like this big of a bag. I ended up getting a smaller bag, but I had already touched it. And so I just folded it up and put it in my purse, and I'm keeping it at my glam station as like my oopsie daisy, I'm all done. Garbage, for lack of a better explanation. Such an unseemly word, garbage. But so this is what the bags look like. This is the largest bag, right? And then they go down to the smaller bag, and then you can weigh them, and you pay at the end. So my kid was like super excited. That's how I got him to go to the mall with me. I'm like, hey, why don't you come because I want to get him out of the house, right? It's harder for kids. Like, I got to go to work all week, but the kiddo, has been sort of at home, just able to go outside and walk around the neighborhood, but not out into public, right? So we went to the mall and we got our Saturday candy, and it was doggy dog. Like, I'm not even kidding. You know what I mean? When I say doggy dog, I mean people were elbowing in, and it was wait, fighting over, not fighting because it's very civil here, but I would say the most uncivil thing here is Saturday candy, right? People generally here are very reserved, they're very polite, they're very civil. They tend to I don't want to say be shy, but they respect body space and boundaries and all that stuff. And so when you get them in front of those candy bins, they are fighting for their right to get their selected choice of candy and get it scooped into their bag. So we did the Saturday candy thing, and it was just fun, throughout our time at the mall, seeing all the kids in strollers go by and eating their candy. It starts young. I'm telling you, toddlers in their little tiny bags, and then their parent pushing the stroller with their slightly bigger bag, eating their candy. It's a wonderful tradition. All right, so I wanted to share that with you. Another thing that I got over the weekend and at the mall, there was an espresso shop. Listen, I'm a Keurig person. Actually, I'm a put my coffee pot on the burner, like the Italian pots, where you put the water in the bottom and then you put your like little filter in and you screw the top on, and it like it boils and boom, it's done. It's like a percolator of sorts. It's very concentrated. That's how I like to make my coffee with grounds. But at work, you know, every workplace has a different, like, what is it? Coffee etiquette, coffee protocol. My last place, we just all like, we had a Keurig, and so we brought in like, you just brought in like once a month, I would buy like whatever 30 K-cups, and like everybody who drank coffee in the office did that too, and it was just like a communal thing, right? And I brought in my own creamer. We had a fridge in the office, and I had flavored creamer, and so because I could get that in Canada, and so I didn't really even need sugar, because I'm like coffee with milk and sugar or cream type of person, meaning I like it sweet. I don't like it super bitter. And so I think we've talked about that in Octoberpalooza. Like, oh no, it was like coffee or tea. I didn't ask in my question of the day, like, what's your favorite, like, how do you take your coffee? Anyway, so it's in my new office, it's an espresso machines, and there are several of them. So I have never had an espresso machine, although when I lived in Brazil, one of my good friends did, and when I would go to lunch at her house, we would have an espresso, right? And so I get it. They come here, and here's my sleeve of Nespresso. They're tiny little pods. I'm sure I'm probably not saying anything new, right? It's just new for me because I'm a Keurig, you know, type of machine at work, and at home, completely different scenario on how I drink my coffee with my stovetop percolator. But anyway, so it was really, the girl was very nice. I was like, I'm new. I've never been in an espresso store. This is what they're using at work. She's got this like 2 sleeves of menus. And I'm like, I'm just kind of like a medium roast person, no flavor, blah, blah, blah. So I got the Vienna blend, and I bought 2 sleeves. So there's 10 per sleeve. And I think it was like around $7 a sleeve. And if you think about it, that's super cheap, because if you're buying like, how much does a Starbucks coffee cost? You know what I mean? Like, my son was like, oh, that sounds expensive. And I'm like, less than $15. I have 20 cups of coffee. And I said, like, how much is 1 cup of coffee at Starbucks? He's like, yeah, that makes sense. Indeed it does. And then I have creamer to go to work with. So I have a little bowl of sugar. I have my 2 sleeves of the Vienna Roast Nespresso. I bought creamer. I'm going to take it all to work. So second week, because I'm not going to lie, there were some days I'm like, oh, I don't have time to make my coffee in the morning. You know what I mean? And I didn't, like, I'm sure it would have been fine if I would have, you know, bumped some coffee off some folks. But now I'm like, I'm completely set. I got my own supplies. I guess that's what I'm getting at. So I'm going to work armed with that. So first week, recap, and I'm like, we've been here entirely too long. We haven't done much glam at all, but I mean, I feel like I'm good to go, although I am going to do a lippy, and I have some swatches here to talk about. But before we get into that, I just want to say it was a great week. There were lessons learned. I identified some gaps in my wardrobe that needed to be filled. I tested out new shoes, found out which ones that I bought maybe in haste are giving my feet some uncomfortable moments, and the ones that are definite winners. Yeah, and overall, I'm giving it an 8.5 for the first week. I'm giving it an 8.5, and I'm going to play pickleball today, so it's all good in the hood. Now, before we sign off, I want to, another thing that I got at my Copenhagen Flying Tiger Copenhagen is this little guy. I thought it was cute because I didn't bring that many beauty blenders, although I did, one of the things that I had left here, there was a whole sleeve of these that I had left here. Another thing that I left here from Christmas, we're circling back to that, is this is like I love, this is the Lancome makeup remover. Oh gosh, I was so excited to find this in a drawer. I was like, oh yes, thank gosh I left that. This BB heat shield, there's not, like, maybe half, but it's great because I didn't really have a heat shield. That's all coming, right? Whenever it comes. This is an Essence Lash and Brow, one of my favorites, and it's still doing okay. Like, I used it this morning and I noticed that it was actually, it's not super clumpy. It's one of my favorite clear gels. It's so affordable, and it just gives a little bit of lift to the brows. This lovely Estee Lauder palette. Look at these shades. I love these shades. Thank you to my Christmas traveling self that left all of this and other stuff. Like, look what I left, some of these. So now I can properly dig out my Makeup Forever stuff. And some spoolies. I left some spoolies. Another thing that I got yesterday at the mall at H&M, when I got my dress, I got a blouse, I got some socks, I bought an umbrella, need that. And they had, so like when I was here at Christmas and I discovered H&M has an H&M beauty side, they had NYX, they had Maybelline, they had e.l.f. This one didn't have Essence, which was kind of a bummer. But look, I got my favorite brow gel, so I'm not just having to use, like, thank you, Huda. You've been working really well for me. I love your micro tip, and this was in the shade taupe, but it wasn't quite doing it for me like my NYX brow gel does. But this, I got it in medium. I normally get it in taupe. And so now I've got it in medium brown. I have no idea if it's going to be too dark. I don't think so. The taupe is okay, but I am looking for a little bit more of a deeper shade for my brows as we're going into fall. And I was just really, really, really excited to find this and add it to what bit of my collection that I do have here, which, you know, isn't much. And I did say it's getting a little bit boring because I've been using it all summer. But guess what else I found? Guess what else I left? A lippy from Shiseido. This was with a gift with purchase in Voltage Rose 408. For those of you who are tracking that, we've seen this before. I have 2 of them. And that's why I've got all these swatches on me. I'm like, I have these are my lip liners. I have 2 Makeup Forevers. If you remember, I have Anywhere Caffeine in like a walnut shade. I've got a couple Charlotte Tilbury's here, like Hot Gossip and the dual tip, the sculpting and the filler. And then I have my 3 e.l.f.s, a plum, a light brown, and a mauve. I swatched all of these against, excuse me, the Voltage Red. And actually none of them are really a good match. Here, let's look at the Voltage Red again. It's the one in the middle, like the brightest one. And look at all of my liners around them are pretty much in the brown and tan family. So I thought, should I use like the e.l.f. Plum? I don't think so. I don't think this is going to be a good contrast. But remember, e.l.f. has raised their prices on these things. Their liners used to be $2, now they're $3. And I still think they're an incredible deal though. Let's go in with the Voltage Rose and put it with the plum from e.l.f. Do a little, I mean, it's not awful. Okay, you know I'm in a hurry. There it is. There's the lip. So we're gonna, I know if you're still hanging in there with me, I don't know if I should go through this. It's like 32 minutes. Boy, we've really been hanging out a long time. This is what I wanted to show you that I got over the summer. I got the Jelly Pop collection. e.l.f. drops more of their Jelly Pop. There is a Jelly Pop Luscious lip mask. I was so excited to see this. A Jelly Pop Melting Balm. I knew that these 2 would be the best out of the collection in here, so I bought them extra. And I was thinking of, thinking in mind like I usually am when I buy extras about giveaways. I got a little keychain here from the Jelly Pop, but if you, when I bought those three lip liners here from e.l.f., these 3 6 for $9, I got a free keychain because it was a day where you buy like 3 things and you get the free keychain. So now I've got 2 really, really fun keychains from e.l.f. But so let's just look at it. Like, if you're still hanging out with me, I appreciate you. Let's see. We already know about the lip mask and the melting balm. Okay. What else came in here? The Jelly Pop Glow Reviver Lip Oil, which I do have separately when all my lippies come, but I do like this one. So I'm really excited to have it while I wait for my stuff. And then the Jelly Pop Primer, which, you know, is a hit for a lot of folks. For me, it's like a May, you know, because a lot of primers are. I'm pretty happy with my Guerlain primer, or with my my NYX Marshmallow Primer. Like that's something else I've learned in these 2 years. Like, I definitely have favorites in terms of, you You know, I tried all kinds of primers over the past 2 years, and I've narrowed it down to a few that I can fit on less than one hand in terms of what my favorites are. So if you haven't checked out, e.l.f. still has that on their website. It's not sold out. Let's use some of the Lancome remover, and let me just show you that it's just boom. Oh gosh, this is so great. I have missed having some liquid makeup remover. Like, I'm using proper, you know, face for e.l.f. I'm using an e.l.f. Gel makeup remover cleanser right now. So I'm using something proper to take off my makeup, but I just like for little things like that. I've missed having makeup remover around. So yeah, so there's the Jelly Pop collection, which, I mean, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get a giveaway out there, because I feel like it's very unnatural for me to be doing these videos and not being like, welcome to the Gen X Glam and Give channel and the sometimes silent G giveaway channel as well. I'm looking over here. Look, I've got a exercise band that I also bought at the Flying Tiger Copenhagen, because I didn't tell you guys, but like my shoulder's been bothering me. This one right here, I think it's something, and if you're really still watching this, and you've ever experienced frozen shoulder, please weigh in the comments or DM me on Discord so we can chat about that. It's common in women over 40, and it's basically like the losing of some range of motion in your shoulder due to, like, I don't know, like a slight injury, which I think I did during the pack out. Remember when I was packing out at the end of June? Because that's when it started, and I didn't really think that much of it. I was like, oh, I just pulled something, it'll go away. But it hasn't yet, and so further I've self-diagnosed myself. I did get an x-ray done while I was home on vacation, and everything's fine in there. I got a script for PT to do some shoulder exercises, so I thought, why not get the bands, you know? The Flying Tiger Copenhagen is like a very kitschy shop that has so many things in it. You can get food in there. You can't get clothing. There's no real clothing. You can get like a fleece blanket. But yeah, it's just a potpourri of stuff. It's not a dollar store. You still have to pay a little bit, but although it's not as expensive, like if I would have bought the umbrella there instead of buying it at H&M, I probably would have got it cheaper. All right, I truly gotta go. I gotta sign out, but it's been fantastic hanging out with everyone. Please drop any comments that you want to drop in. I love hearing from you. Join the Discord server if you get a chance. I'll link that invitation to the Discord server in this video description. Maybe I'll see you there. Check you out in any of the many channels that are out there. Oh, before I go, I do want to say that Charlotte Tilbury she's launching all kinds of stuff. Oh my gosh. She's teasing some sort of airbrush thing, which I think is literally going to be like a spray. Like, you know how there's the spray foundations, you know what I'm talking about? Anyway, I think she's going to launch something like that. I don't know. It's very hush-hush. She's already, like, last week or the week before teased her advent calendar that's coming out in September, sometime September. She's going to start selling those. I got on the wait list for that. But she's also doing a lip mask, and I just thought that was really interesting, because there's so many lip masks out there. Laneige, like Essence, like all the brands have a lip mask. So I'm not exactly sure where Charlotte's going with that. It's going to be like the diehards, and I consider myself a diehard, but I'm not diehard enough where I'm going to buy a lip mask when I've got my e.l.f. Jelly Pop and I have Laneige ones coming. And I don't know. I'm calling that as, like, if I looked at the books, I'm not thinking that's going to be the biggest hit, but I mean, what do I know? What do I know? I'm not a guru. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you're well. I hope your family's well. I'll see you in the next video.